Talk about it. Testify.
I ain't the easiest person to
testify.
lead, but I tell you what, the right one can lead me in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. And if you got to have a different type of confidence when you're dealing with
somebody like you.
with a type A personality.
Yes.
Yeah, specifically me.
Yes.
You got to be confident, man, in all you do. I don't want another Tashara, right? Like, I don't want someone coming in acting like me. Like, that's not what I want.
Acting like
and
you.
I'm not saying like, I want someone who is just confident enough in himself to know that he can handle a woman like me.
I never imagined my journey would inspire people all over the world.
Hello, my name is Nema and I'm from Zambia. So I love the Dear Future Wifey podcast.
For me to see people being so real, so honest, and so true about the real situations in life.
Hey, I'm Natalie from Belgium, and I would like to say thank you.
I value your content because it is Christ-centered.
You have set a standard in love.
Dear Future Wifey podcast has opened my understanding.
I highly recommend that everyone, whether you're single, you're married, you're divorced, you're widowed, everyone to go follow this podcast.
Continue with me as I discover, uncover, and recover love. I'm Tashara S. Whitfield, and welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. What's up, lit family? This is your boy Tashara S. Whitfield. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Stop shacking up with me and let's go ahead and make a commitment and subscribe. Listen, today's guest, I'm so excited to have her on the podcast. You've seen her on the news on the ABC affiliate here in DFW. She's been making a lot of noise because she's just gone totally viral because she's just what that is. And so
What is that?
we're going to find that out today. We're going to find that out today. We're going to find out what that is and what makes her such a great sensation and why she's captivating the hearts of people that follow her on social media or just saw her viral video. So without further ado, welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. My new homie, Tashara Parker, y'all.
Hey, we got the sound effects in here.
Yeah, we got to make it official. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole crowd out there. You can't see them right now.
I love it.
But it's a whole crowd.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Tashara.
Yes.
So you have been captivating the hearts of people. I've seen you just launch a whole bun ministry.
Oh, goodness.
A whole bun ministry. Like you have been the prophetess, the pastor,
Okay,
the
come on
apostle,
now. Amen, hallelujah.
and the first lady
Praise be.
of the bun ministry. Of the bun ministry.
That came out of nowhere, though, and it was so organic. I mean, people got to follow up with the post to know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it was super organic how it all happened.
Tashara wanted to share a message. Here is her perspective.
Representation matters. Two words that I've heard consistently throughout my life and more so in the last couple of days, all because of the way I chose to wear my hair to work. Most of the time in its natural state or even in natural hairstyles. This style in particular, this whole bun situation, you see it? It's what caused quite the stir online. Overwhelmingly, many of you saying the style is professional, while some others saying, hey, not so much. Well, here we are at another intersection of black hair and what's considered professional in the workplace or even in schools.
So I feel like you're so befitting for today's episode. This episode is affectionately called Be You.
Ooh.
As simple as that, Tashara.
We can do that.
Just be you.
That's easy.
Because oftentimes in relationships, we don't allow our authentic self to show up until someone has gotten totally caught up in us. They done introduced us to their families, and then you begin to let the representative die off, and then you show who you authentically are, and
Yeah.
sometimes they may not like who that is.
Yeah, that's rough. And I done been in a couple of situations where me being myself then actually got me out of those situations. So I'm good on that.
You said you
No,
being yourself
real
got
talk.
you out the situation.
Yes,
Explain
yes.
that.
Well, so, man, I'm trying not to give too much away because, look, I don't want to be sued down the line.
You can't be
by
sued. Listen,
revealing somebody's identity.
Well, you ain't got to reveal their name. So listen, Tashara, I got to give you a little disclaimer.
Okay.
Here on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, we keep it lit.
Yeah.
We live intentionally and transparently. So when you sit at this table, be your authentic self. You're not being judged, and we just going to have fun.
Yeah, so anyway, I can be transparent, you know that. So I call myself dating someone. And here's another thing, this may be another episode. Situationships, you get yourself in these situationships.
I'm planning on having one of those.
And man,
yes.
I gotta, anyway, okay.
No, stop.
Yes.
Explain what a situationship is.
You don't, at the very beginning, you don't define exactly what you guys are trying to do.
Yes.
And I've learned, and I'm just keeping it 100, I still sometimes get myself into situationships. And that just kind of is what it is.
So situationships are when you're in a relationship with somebody without a title. And so you have these unmet expectations because you're not their girlfriend, they're not your boyfriend, but y'all operate in that role, and then you find yourself in a toxic situation.
Not even unmet expectations. And a lot of times, I'll just speak for, in my situation, it hasn't even led to something toxic. It's just kind of this up in the air kind of situation. And it's just like, okay, well, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't end toxic or anything along those lines. It just kind of is what it is. And so I got to stop myself from getting involved in those kind of situations. But back to your original question, which was basically what it means to be you authentically, all of that good stuff, right?
Right.
And so I was talking about a situation that I was in. I was dating someone. In this particular situation, I was in a relationship dating someone. And we went on a family trip. I mean, it may have been like, look, for real, it may have been like maybe a few months into the relationship.
A whole family trip.
A whole family trip.
Wait, you talking about, did he have kids or his family? His family, like his mom and dad?
He does not have kids. His mom, his stepdad.
Ooh, Lord Jesus. Okay.
His mom, his stepdad, his sister, her husband, and he and I. Wow. And so we went on a trip. And so after that trip, baby, it's like downhill. Everything went downhill. So I was like, I guess I was keeping it too real on that trip. They was like, nah, fam, that's not who you gonna bring home. So, and I thought I was just chilling, vibing with the fam.
Oh, God.
But that was one of those relationships rather, where, I came as my authentic self, and maybe myself was a little too much for that particular situation. So, and maybe even it wasn't just the family. I think it was more so on him. Yeah. I'm definitely not putting it on his family. I had a great time with them.
Yeah.
But I think he was like, maybe this ain't where I want to go. So
did he ever say something that made it change? Was there a comment that you made in the with the family?
That's what sucks, right? You never get that kind of closure with those type of situations. And the only reason that I found out remotely that it has something to do with that particular trip, and this was months after, by the way, was through through a mutual friend who went to dinner, and basically they had a conversation, and that's how I found out that it had something to do with that trip and the family. Yeah.
So you done told everybody else but couldn't tell you. That's basically what you're saying. Basically,
no, they close, so.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have told you, like, now, Tashara, when, my mom asked you, like, oh, so what are y'all? Is that, do you see yourself married to my son? And you was like, That just,
I think his mom loved me. I'm going to throw that out there. She was straight. I loved her from the beginning to end. So, anyway.
So what does dating look like for you now?
Whew. We're in a pandemic, right?
Yeah, that don't stop love.
It doesn't stop love.
People getting married.
And that's what's so important during this time. You really, truly get the realness out of people because you have so much more time to talk to them.
Yes.
So for me, I have been dating. I've been on quite a few dates, as a matter of fact. And you just learn quickly whether or not that's going to be something you're going to entertain. You'll go to certain dates, and I guess the guy expects you to behave a certain way, maybe do certain things. And if that doesn't happen, you don't hear from them again. And I'm A-okay with that because we dodged a bullet early on. You didn't get into the situation 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line and then figure like, oh, okay, this isn't going to work. Like, no, we go on a date, maybe 2, maybe 3. And I feel like that's enough for us to know, okay, do we want to stick around and make this happen or not? And I've had many situations during this pandemic where we chose to not make it happen, and that was the end of it. And a lot of times, I guess we might get into this, but I ain't going to even go there.
No, go ahead.
A lot of times, too, guys,
Talk about it.
They be wanting a little something extra. And I ain't giving none of that.
So guys,
if you can read between the lines.
Those that are tuning in, understand that if you want a little extra from Tashara,
T ain't doing it.
She ain't giving it to you.
No.
TP says she ain't giving it to you. You're going to have to fast and pray and intercede on behalf of the Lord God Almighty for you to get a breakthrough.
Come on, you better preach, Pastor.
Literally speaking, you're going to have to get a breakthrough to get through to Tashara. So where are you on that? I did an episode last month. Mm-hmm. I launched season 2 with Abstain the Game. And so since you're just gonna bring that up, are you practicing abstinence where you gonna wait till you get married?
I am practicing abstinence right now. Now, when it comes to, initially when I started this whole abstaining process was when I was in a relationship, and I felt like that was all
it was about.
Not that it was all that it was about, but I felt like that was mainly what was able to kind of keep us together.
Yes.
And not too long after that, the relationship did dissolve.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I hate to say dissolve like we talking about
a whole marriage.
You know what I'm saying? Look, the relationship dissolved, right? It was no longer. And so I felt like sex was the one thing that was keeping us together. And so I did stop having sex in that relationship, and that was just it. And I felt like that kind of not necessarily proved my point, but it goes to show that we had so many other communication issues that we needed to get through, that if we didn't have sex kind of interfering and interrupting that entire process, we didn't have anything else, because we certainly didn't have communication.
There it is.
And so, so I've been abstaining for a little over 2 years, 2.5 years almost.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
But you said that it's not a commitment till marriage. You committing until what, a serious relationship?
Right now it's a serious relationship, but at the end of the day, I ultimately think the path that I'm on right now, it's going to be marriage.
Beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. We did a whole purity ceremony a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. This lady named Lestine Bell, she came on the podcast. She has a whole platform about purity, and over 300 women took this pledge of purity. Mm-hmm. And all over the world.
Is it kind of like the pinky promise deal? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Okay. This is just something that she created.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. And I just sponsored it through the podcast and did the live. And
come on, sponsor.
It was really, really dope. I was just like, hey.
I love that. Yeah, man, it's important. And again, I think because I'm not out here putting out, just throwing it out there.
You're going to weed through
because
some stuff real fast.
Exactly. You're weeding through these guys who really ain't about nothing.
Exactly.
Real quick, in my situation anyway. So
you're upfront about that?
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. If that comes, let me be 100 with you. A lot of times that does not come up, but I think guys can kind of tell, like, oh, she ain't, You know what I'm saying? Now, and if that did come up with these short time frames that I've been interacting with some of these guys,
then there's a problem.
Maybe that's already a red flag. Like, no.
People like, what we doing? So this is our first date. So how long do you wait for you to give me some? You're like, God, no. Talking about, hold on, before I pay for this food, like, do you ever see us having sex in the next 30 days?
Half and half?
Can we split half and half? Because I'm just letting you know that's where I'm at.
I'm sure some of them probably wish they did that.
They're like, God, dog, is she tripping? Mm-hmm. But that's powerful. Again, being you, to be authentically you, to say, listen, this is the place I'm in my life, and whether it's a faith move or whether it's just your own personal spiritual journey that you're on, always be upfront and be you, because you get in a relationship with people that aren't on the same page as you are with practicing abstinence, and then he over here trying to accost you all the time, or sliding, tugging all on you, fighting and stop, just stop. And then if you would have just been honest up front, then you would have, avoided all that.
That's real.
So Tashara, you went. I know this was unexpected. People always ask, how did you go viral? No one knows how they become viral. That's why it's viral. But what is it that you believe resonated with women and men across the world with your post or the video of you just being naturally who you are?
I think that's it.
There it is.
Being naturally who you are. This piece in particular, I think it resonated with a lot of people because I was able to just be me. I was able to talk. I think a lot of times in the news business as newscasters, you are quote unquote in character, right? You're reading your stories, you're going through the motions, you're doing what you have to do to get through the newscast. But with this piece, this one in particular, I was able to sit there, talk directly to people and let them know how I feel. And a lot of times too, when it comes to being a newscaster, you're always told, oh, don't worry about the people that email in, that message in, that say negative things on, social media or whatever the case may be. And I was like, no, I've always responded to these people, and it just so happened in this particular situation, I have a Black executive producer, which is also a whole nother story that we could talk about. But I have a Black executive producer, and was like, well, would you want to respond on air? I was like, what? And so
that's dope.
She made space. She created space, and I think it's important for us to always take up space, by the way.
Come on.
She created space for me to be able to address the viewers directly and to tell them exactly how I felt and educate them about Black hair. And that's very important because a lot of times they're speaking from a place of ignorance, what I believe is ignorance, and a lot of times they just don't know, and that's okay.
Yes.
As a journalist, one of the things that you should be doing is you should be educating people on different topics. Like, you're learning something every day, you can also teach somebody something every day.
Yes.
And so I think that piece resonated with so many people because they are used to seeing us on the news. It doesn't matter where you are across the world. They're used to seeing their newscasters deliver the news, stick straight to what the facts say, and don't, venture too far outside of it. Yeah. And so the fact that I was able to do that, I think they was like, yes, sis. And not only that, so many Black women in particular have went through different situations at their own corporate jobs and spaces that they're in.
Totally.
And so for them, that was their moment to say, oh my God, thank you. Because I went through this situation. And I mean, my inbox was flooded and still is flooded because some people are just seeing the video. Wow. My inbox was flooded with people. I mean, Australia, Canada, Bermuda, like all these different places of people just tapping in saying, I went through something similar. And I'm like, dang, we're so small-minded thinking about, the United States and ourselves, but the world is so large, man.
So
and this stuff
bigger.
is happening all across the world when it comes to hair discrimination in the workplace. So yeah, I think that's why that resonated with a lot of people, because a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of Black women are dealing with that.
Did that catch you off guard? I mean, that level of response.
Yeah.
People, I saw you pop up on, what was that? I'm about to say AOL, about to tell my age. It popped up in Yahoo. It popped up Yahoo.
Yahoo was the first one where it popped up, and that was by way of the Griot, which is a Black space, a Black news journalism company that covers stories and issues particularly related to the Black experience. Yeah. And so they were the first ones to pick it up. So before any of the other big timers and all these other folks, it was a Black news outlet that picked it up outside of my news station. Wow. So that's dope. And I just want to give them their props and kudos because they were the ones who kind of put it out there. And so, no, I did not expect that to go the way that it did, man. Like you said, when somebody go viral, people be asking how I don't know.
If I could recreate it, I'll recreate it every day.
Okay, look.
But ask somebody.
Just doing me.
And so then God called you to the ministry of the Bun Ministry. So you have been
praise be.
Been ordained as the minister and the prophet and the pastor.
Prophetess.
So where did this ministry come from? Why you call it the Bun Ministry?
Well, it's so funny because one of my sorors actually on Facebook.
You go here and represent, tell them who you are.
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
There it is.
One of my sorors on Facebook, she basically said, I don't remember what the conversation was, but it had something to do with the post going viral and people, showing up. And so all these women and all these young girls started putting their hair in the buns. And I was like, when I tell you I was so emotional.
You cried. I know you had to shed a lot of tears.
Oh, yeah. And it's still happening. Like, I was just so emotional. And so I think they kind of they know me. And so under one of the posts, she was like, okay, the Bun Ministry, then walked in the door, something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. And I was like, that is catchy.
That is perfect.
I just started saying Bun Ministry and people started catching on.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how it developed. And it just became kind of like this sisterhood despite the moment that had occurred. It wasn't just a moment. Like, it just ended up turning into what we are calling like a movement. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how the Bun Ministry started, and it's still going.
I saw a video on one of your stories that literally brought tears to my eyes. It was a little girl, and she just like, I look like Tashara. And she was just, I was like, look at this. Like, it's amazing the level of impact that we can have on people by simply being you.
Yeah, yeah.
It don't take no effort. It just means that you have to authentically show up as yourself and just be you.
Yeah, and that's so important because a lot of the young girls, their moms have went through similar situations when it comes to hair discrimination. So their moms will show them that video, and it's because they want to make sure that their children can see someone who not just isn't afraid to show up as themselves, but just someone who is literally authentically being themselves in every situation. Because young girls go through a lot when it comes to bullying at school.
Yes.
If they have puffy hair when they're 5, 6, 7 years old, they're not seen as quote unquote the pretty girl in most situations. You know what I'm saying? And let's not even talk about colorism. If they're darker skin tone, in any race, by the way, that's always an issue. And so anyway, long story short, I certainly didn't expect it to happen. It was, again, organically something that just kind of blew up, and it just took me by surprise. Every day I'm still like, how did this happen?
And they keep flooding. They keep giving you stuff, keep flooding you. So answer this. Who was Tashara as a little girl? Were you always this confident woman that we see, or did you struggle with self-esteem, especially when you bring up stuff about being a darker skinned woman with dealing with colorism in our own race? Who were you as a young girl?
Oh, I'm sure I dealt with many things. And what's so interesting about doing these types of interviews is you start to think back, and sometimes I feel like one day I just need to sit down and really just think about this. But we compartmentalize so much growing up. We're such a strong species, especially Black people, Black women. We compartmentalize so much because we know that each and every day we're going to still have to show up. We're going to still have to, whether it's go to school or go to work or whatever the case may be, you're still going to have to power through that day.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so, no, I don't think I was always as confident as I am now. I mean, I still struggle with certain things, absolutely. But I certainly don't think I was always as confident because, one, again, colorism. I was always one of the darker skinned young ladies in school. And you just don't think about all those kind of things. And then again, like if things like that were occurring back then, it was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to just charge that to the game and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And so I think this confidence, and I know this confidence has been developed over time, just being put in certain situations where I had no choice but to be strong.
Yes.
Especially in journalism, as an on-air TV personality, you literally have no choice but to be strong and stand in your power every single day. Now, don't get it twisted. The industry can make or break you. And when I say break you down to your core. And so I've just been placed in so many situations where I literally had no other choice but to be strong. And coming from my family's system that I came from as a first-generation college student, I literally wanted to break barriers every step of the way. And so that's just kind of been my mindset along the way. Now, do I feel like sometimes I may have overlooked certain situations and kind of just move right past it? Absolutely. But again, we get so accustomed to compartmentalizing things that we do just look past it.
Let's talk about that. We're talking about career. You went from, what is Tyler representing? What kind of market is that? Is that a
How do you explain that to somebody who doesn't know? Okay, we can go with that.
Is it a C market?
First
D
of all,
market?
don't.
I mean, what is? I'm just talking about space. People understand A, B, C. And so
I don't like that though because I love my people in Tyler.
Love Tyler. They're the bomb. I'm just saying.
In a way,
and it hurt my feelings because my turkey place got burnt down.
Greenberg
and I just canceled Thanksgiving.
Oh, you ain't canceling no Thanksgiving.
I did.
Really?
You better ask my sons. I was like, Thanksgiving ain't at my house. I have a traditional Greenberg turkey, and I'm just not doing nothing.
Well, I had a whole other situation on Thanksgiving, but we're not going to talk about that. I ordered food from somewhere. But
honestly, I already did the same thing. I said, forget it.
Well,
it didn't work out well.
Yeah. Okay. So what was I gonna? What was your question again?
From Tyler being what? What's the market?
Okay, so Tyler is market 114, and so you have to think about it in terms of in news media in the United States of America, we have 200 plus media markets. Okay, Dallas is top 10. So Dallas is in line with, for folks who aren't from the U.S., is in line with New York and L.A. and Chicago and all these other big major cities, Dallas, Houston, Philadelphia, all these other big cities that you can think about. So think about Dallas on that level. Tyler, Texas, I don't know how I can explain.
You said 114.
It's 114, but it's really small.
You go
114,
top 10 to from 114 to top 10.
Exactly. And so that, it was interesting because when I was in Tyler, Texas, I think that's when I really, really started to come into myself.
I'm going to be me.
I'm going to BT. I was the first black evening anchor hired for the primetime spot, female anchor, primetime spot in Tyler, Texas. Yes, I anchored the 5, 6, and the 10
Congratulations
p.m.
on making history.
evening news there in Tyler. And so I think I just started to just become more of myself, more of me, started showing up daily as T, you know, when people started to resonate with people because they was like, oh, who was this girl on this news? And so I think that's what drew me to Dallas, right? So I had people in Dallas reaching out to my station in Tyler, trying to see, okay, well, what can we do to get Tashara here, right? And they had reached out to me as well.
It wasn't the ABC affiliate in Tyler, was
No,
it?
but it was owned by the same company.
Okay.
So I work for CBS in Tyler, CBS 19, and I work for ABC now.
Yeah.
But we were both owned by Tegna. By the way, I've been with the same company my entire career, which is quite unheard of.
It is.
It is very much unheard, especially in journalism.
Yes.
But because I would say, because of what I bring to the table and the fact that I continue to produce.
You better testify.
You know what I'm saying? But
testify.
no, it's a blessing. It is definitely a blessing. But man, you got to realize, like, if you don't recognize your greatness, how you going to expect somebody else to recognize it?
Talk about it. Be you. Live in your truth. Be authentically you.
And so I think my company recognizes that, and I certainly appreciate them for obviously keeping me on. But man, it's dope to have a company to say, okay, Tashara, just go out there and do what you do.
Fly,
do you.
and we'll be the wind beneath your
You know what I'm
wings.
saying? And even back to that moment early on, we talked about that video going viral. That was because my company said, okay, go do it, right? And so, you know, back to jumping the markets, Dallas, you know, started talking to some folks at my station in Tyler, and it just kind of happened. And by the way, I had a lot of other top 10 markets still trying to get me to go to other stations. And so I was just like, man, what do these people see? I'm so serious. I was like, what do they see in me? I was just, that's one of a prime example is you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching you, and you never know who's paying attention.
Yes.
I never in 1,000 million, whatever years would think that these top 10 markets were looking at me from Tyler. In fact, I used to drive Tyler, Texas. By the way, it's only about an hour, 15 hour, 30 minutes from Dallas, Texas. And I used to drive to Dallas often to get my hair done, whether it was for some type of appointment, whatever it was, I would be driving to Dallas, and I would have conversations, you know, in the salon, we talking. I would have conversations with black women, and they would say, well, you need to come to Dallas next. I was like, girl, ain't no way I'm coming to Dallas as my next market. There's no way. Like, you don't go from Tyler to Dallas. You go Tyler, then you go somewhere in between, and maybe one more stop in between. You make 1, 2, maybe even 3 more stops before you get to a market this size.
Yes.
And so when they saw that I was coming, they was like, now, what didn't you just say that you can't make no... So God is good.
Your God is bigger than your expectations.
Always.
That's what I love about God. He is bigger than our expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
When I launched this podcast, I just thought, like you said, we think so small. I only thought United States. Yeah. And then I get so many, like 30% of the viewers are in markets outside of the United States. And I was like, how did y'all find this? What am I saying that's resonating with y'all? And it's like, you're talking about relationships and love, and we all go through it.
Exactly.
So when you talk about love being a sounding board for everybody to join in, that's exactly what's happening. So Tashara, I always ask my guests, especially if they're single, whether or not you actually want to be married.
Yeah, eventually I do want to be married with kids.
All right, so you say eventually. A lot of times, is that like, are you going to do the Oprah thing where you focus on career and then you find yourself older in age to get married, or are you saying that you think before 40 you're going to be married, or?
Yeah, I certainly think before 40 I'll be married, and I think I'm already doing the whole Oprah thing. Like, yeah, you know, I'm focusing on my career right now. But the thing is, I'm focusing on my career, but I'm also at a point, and you know, we were talking about this a little earlier, where if something does fall into place, you're going to know that that's the situation that needs to manifest, you know, and to transition into something more. So yeah, I'm not the person that's saying, oh my goodness, like nobody's going to get me to move here or do this or do that. Yeah. Like, no, like that ain't me. But if you come along and you talking the right talk, we can probably make something happen. Yeah.
Go half on the baby.
Eventually.
So Tashara.
Yeah.
You sound like you come from a foundation of faith. Are you a Christian?
Yeah. Absolutely, I'm a Christian.
Okay, so you're a Christian woman, and so how does that line up with your decision making in choosing your, I call them purpose partners, because I don't believe just in getting married to just, because everybody can get married, but I believe as I'm intentionalizing my future wifey is going to be a purpose partner. So how does your faith line up with choosing a purpose partner, and what does that look like?
Well, I certainly think that they need to have God first and foremost in their life. I think that sometimes goes without saying, but I guess these days you do have to say it up front. You know what I'm saying? But I also want someone who, you know, I know that we need to be whole by ourselves, right? Each other. But at the same time, I want someone who's going to help me learn more, who's going to help me grow more, who's going to help me in my walk. You know what I'm saying? My faith walk. And so I want someone who's confident enough in himself and what he's been doing, you know, in regards to his faith walk and spirituality and all of that. And so I want that person to be comfortable leading me, because I'm a type A personality. I'm not the...
Talk about it, testify.
I ain't the easiest person to lead, but I tell you what, the right one can lead me in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. And if you got to have a different type of confidence when you're dealing with
somebody like you,
with a type A personality.
Yes.
Yeah, specifically me.
Yes.
You got to be confident, man, in all you do. I don't want another Tashara, right? Like, I don't want someone coming in acting like me. Like, that's not what I want.
Acting like
and
you.
I'm not saying like, I want someone who is just confident enough in himself to know that he can handle a woman like me.
Yes, and allow you to be free.
Yeah.
And allow you and support all your efforts.
I know,
instead of getting jealous of what you're doing.
Oh goodness, are we going to talk about that?
Yes, we can talk about that, because oftentimes you get with certain people. I'm telling you, I've been there. You get with people that begin to hinder the very call that God has on your life, your purpose, and they can smother you and stifle your potential.
Oh my goodness. Jealousy and envy. Oh my goodness. It's so important to mention, because when you get in these relationships with someone, and I'm just speaking from my own personal situation.
Yes.
But when you get in a situation where someone is not, so let's say they're comfortable where they are. They can make, you know, pretty good money. They are just comfortable with their lifestyle, and that's completely okay.
Yeah.
And you know, they've done well throughout their years. They are just fine where they are. I'm very ambitious. I am very ambitious. And something in my mind wants someone who is also ambitious, or someone who is still not necessarily trying to chase their dreams, but someone who, if you're comfortable where you are, okay, well, at least support me in what I'm trying to do.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at least show your support, whether you're going to show up or whether you're going to, help me get through something. Like, whatever it is, at least support me. If I don't feel like I have your support, because maybe not so obvious, but I'm going to support everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? Or as much as I can, I'm going to try to support you, because I know that whatever those dreams or aspirations are for you, they're important to you. So they need to be equally important to me.
Yes.
And when it comes to a point where my work and the things that I'm doing, whether it's for work or for community or whatever it is, when it gets to a point where those things aren't important to you anymore, and you try to hinder what I'm doing, that's going to automatically cause conflict in our relationship. And so I think you need someone, for me personally, I need someone who's ambitious and someone who's still trying to go after more. Basically, that I need someone that is equally as ambitious, or just someone who is still trying to go after their dreams, because I'm going to fully support you, and I would hope that you will fully support me. You know, my lifestyle isn't for everybody, and I've learned that over the years.
Yes.
But when it comes to a point where you're tired of either showing your support or you want me to slow down.
You always doing something, Tashara. You
right.
always involved
you know
in something. You always trying to.
And you start to feel a certain kind of way. You start to feel like I'm not showing you enough attention.
Yes.
You know, and that very well may be true in certain, I'm just saying that, I'm being real. Like, it could possibly be true in certain situations, but it's not always the case. Like, you can't blame me not showing you enough attention on just the simple fact that I'm always doing something that I think is fulfilling.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like I'm out on dates or, hanging with my friends or whatever the case may be.
Girl trips,
you know what I'm
twice
saying?
a month.
None of that. Yeah. No. It's never been that. I was in a relationship where it just felt like the person, again, was very comfortable where they were. They were making good money, still making good money. They, again, just wanted to have a very low-key lifestyle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. But don't try to diminish what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Because you don't want to keep going.
How long was your last relationship?
My last relationship was almost 3 years.
What's the longest relationship you ever been in? How many years?
6.
Have you ever been like engaged?
No, but very close to it.
Very close to it. So the question, what comes to mind when you say people that try to hinder your purpose? God has reminded me of this moment that Jesus had where he told Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." Mm-hmm. He told him to get behind me, Satan, when Peter said, "Hey," Jesus said, "I'm going to die." And Peter, with all his best intentions, was like, "No, you're not going to die. I'm going to stop you from dying. I'm going to protect you." And Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan." The reason why he said that is because it's a demonic force that tries to come against your purpose. And so Jesus recognized that, hold on, I know you have good intentions, but my purpose is to die. And so I look at people in my life in that vein to say, listen, this is my purpose. This is what I'm trying to fulfill. But if you come into my life and say, no, you shouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? And a dreamer, the worst thing you can do for a dreamer is to stop them from dreaming.
And sometimes it's not directly known, right? It's not like they're outwardly saying,
no,
they're not outwardly
intentions.
saying, I don't support your dream. They're not going to, at least in my situation, it wasn't like that.
No.
It wasn't directly saying, but it was everything else surrounding.
And that's what I'm talking about.
You know, those conversations. The guy, I mean, he's a sweet guy, very good guy, you know, good family, all of that. But it's just the fact that I'm very much a person that's not going to be in a position, at least for now, to be stagnant when it comes to goals or ambition or dreams or anything surrounding that. And that's just not the lifestyle that I'm living right now.
So purpose partner. So you want somebody to get alongside of you, help build whatever you're doing. And you said that you're willing to get alongside of them and help them build their purpose.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's what makes a healthy relationship. And you also said that you're not in the place where you're trying to push love away or push marriage and all that, that you're submitted to the will of God in your life to say, God, whatever you want me to do, wherever you want me to go. And if this is the person you brought in my life to marry, then I'll do it. Big time.
I also think, though, that I need to do more about praying for that. I think that's very important because I get so entangled in my own work, you know, the things that I want to accomplish.
That's the word of 2020, entanglement.
Right.
Word of 2020.
Worried about my own work. Look, and I think because I do that, sometimes I do tend to forget about, you know, love and everything that comes along with it. So I think I also need to be intentional about adding that to my prayer because to be real with you, that's not something that I've prayed about lately at all, you know.
So you used to pray? You used to pray about it?
Years and years ago, but again, it just kind of kept getting pushed to the back burner. The more I started to add onto my plate in regards to whether it was work or being involved in the community or whatever the case may be, it just consistently got pushed to the back burner. But again, to your point earlier, I'm not saying that I'm not interested in loving on someone and somebody loving on me.
Amen.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, I just need to be a little bit more intentional about exactly what I'm looking for to make sure I don't get in none of those situationships that we talked about
anymore.
earlier.
So that's interesting. You said that you need to be intentional. Why do you say one has to be intentional to, hate using the word manifest, but we'll use that, to manifest their purpose partner?
Well, I think once you write things, okay, so a lot of times at the very beginning, you can kind of weed out what you're not going to deal with, right? So if you've been praying for, you know, a person that loves God, loves his mom, loves his family, you know, if you've been praying for that person, then you get somebody that comes along who just cursed his mama out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you get somebody who comes along who did something like that or disrespected his mom in some way, then you automatically know, okay, like, nope, we ain't dealing with that. Like, let's go ahead and check him off the list. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying have this long list of things because women I know, I ain't speaking for all women I know, you know, we make a full long list of all these things that you want your man to add up to. But you got to realize, look, if he can't make that same long list for you and you be able to follow it, being you and authentically you all the time, you know, not showing up with, like you said, your representative half the time. But if he can't make that same list and you are able to follow it, then honey, you need to go ahead on with your list. Now have some non-negotiables, you know what I'm saying? But just also be willing to be perceptive and understanding in certain situations. Because I think a lot of times when we do have those lists and we're being intentional about what our list says, sometimes that can get in the way too. So that's what I mean by being intentional. By, you know, you can write down certain things that you absolutely can't do without, but at the same time, like, don't make your list so long where nobody can meet your expectations.
Jesus.
Okay,
Except Jesus, you're gonna be stuck.
You're gonna
with Jesus.
be meeting Jesus later on if you keep on playing by yourself.
By yourself, saved, sanctified, and abstinent.
Okay,
and you're gonna meet your Savior. Hallelujah.
Amen.
So,
what is happening?
So, one of the things that
are you not gonna show me who's there?
I'm gonna show you a little bit.
Okay.
One of the things that that I love about your supporters is I've never met somebody that has their own hype person. And so,
oh my God,
I got your hype person. Hold on, I'm recording this way. I got your hype person right here.
I told her that I was coming here.
And she is freaking hilarious. And so anytime I see the videos that you post as she gives her unadulterated commentary while she's watching you do traffic in the morning. So listen, I couldn't complete this episode with her on the Dear Future Wifey podcast without you giving your commentary on Tashara. So here she is.
Oh goodness! I usually can't hear her when she's doing it.
I know it. Now it's going to be real crazy. Go ahead.
God.
You have the floor.
Honey, listen, welcome. Welcome to the Fanny Shannon commentary of Miss Tashara Parker, the traffic girl could never. Let's get into the curls, honey. We have the curls. They are popping and juicy, as they should be, and not ashy. Some of y'all curls are ashy, but I ain't going to say nothing. Now, let's get into the skin. The skin is glowing. The melanin is glowing. Honey, she looked like she came from Rwanda, like she was birthed, okay, from the motherland. This is what I'm saying. Honey, this is jollof rice. This is coconut oil, honey. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now we have the snake skin turtleneck, honey. This is come hither. This is fall. Fall in love. Fall in love with me. This is my sis. This is Tashara Parker. Your traffic girl could never. Could never.
God. You are so
Who else is traffic girl? Who else is traffic girl? Do you know that wears leather dresses in the morning? Who else? Who else? Not y'all. Honey, this is Tashara. This is what we do on a daily.
I cannot deal with you.
So what made you do that the first time? Did y'all know each other before this?
No, not at all. So what happened was I had stopped watching the news just because Donald Trump was in office and he was vexing my spirit. And I got tired of looking at him, quite frankly. So I was getting ready for work. I said, let me just look at the traffic and see what's going on because I travel 35 every day. So I'm getting ready for work and it's one of those, like, it's a Monday morning and I'm tired and I'm looking and I'm like, I see this beautiful, this girl looked like she was carved out of baker's chocolate, honey. Like she was on that screen looking like Jesus just dipped her in like fresh coconut oil. Like she had the side profile, but it was like bun. Right? And then she had on the maroon dress with the shoulder cut out. I was like, now I'm getting ready. I'm like putting on lotion. I'm like, who is that? So I grabbed my phone and I just do like a 30-second commentary and I just posted on Facebook. The next day, my phone is going crazy. Some dude hit me up. He's like, girl, you know, you're going viral on TikTok. You're going viral on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, Danny, what did you say? Because you know, right. So I'm like, all right, what did you say? And like, you know, you were talking about that girl on TV. I'm like, the traffic reporter? He was like, yes. Honey, and that's how me and Tashara met, baby. With Tashara, you get butterfly locks, you get curls, you get buns, you get Wakanda, you get melanin, you get it all. You get everything black. Like Tashara is everything black.
She's
like,
everything black. Everything black.
That's the greatest compliment ever.
I'm trying to tell you. Everything black. Well, listen, I totally appreciate you for chiming in. Like I said, I couldn't conclude this without having you.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? So I love what you're doing. I'm proud of you as you are authentically being you.
Yes.
And no one had to invite you to actually do your commentary on Tashara. And what I admire so much is that you can affirm another woman and not be insecure. And I respect that, Queen.
Absolutely.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Because I'm fine all by myself.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh, come on now. Come on, Miss Shannon.
All by myself.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad to have you on there.
Y'all love you. Love y'all.
Hilarious.
That is funny. I cannot believe y'all.
I called her today.
That is so funny.
I inboxed her and was like, hey, listen, I got to have you. I said, I'm having Tashara on. I got to have you.
Yes.
And,
I'm so happy you got her on.
And she's talking about, that green shirt you got on is not making your skin pop. You need to go get a brighter color. I said, how you going to tell me what I'm wearing?
No, she didn't.
No, you need a brighter color. You need something to pop, give you some contrast with that chocolatey skin. Said,
oh, man, you should have been recording that.
Oh, man, it was unexpected. You just don't know. I was dying laughing. I said, girl, how you going to tell me? She's like, okay, now put that on. Okay, now where you shooting it at? I said, how you going to be my wardrobe stylist? I came in here, turned the light on and everything else. It was crazy.
I love her. That is hilarious.
Yes, so good. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today. This is a new product that will be on the website. This is the Dear Future journal.
All right.
Discover, recover, and uncover love.
Okay, hell no.
And so that's your journal.
Oh, so look, when I started writing down my little intentions, I can go ahead and write them.
Yeah. So as you begin to write down what you are praying and asking God for, then you write in this wonderful journal, and hopefully you're able to present it to Him on your wedding day.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Now that's gonna be a touching little old gift.
It is. I'm trying to tell you. That's why I'm trying to inspire people.
You set me up. You set me up.
Yeah,
okay, for success.
For success. There it is. So listen, I thoroughly enjoyed having you on today. Everybody, give it up to Tashara Parker on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. You were so great. I enjoyed it immensely. I hope y'all really enjoyed this episode with Tashara. Listen, I'm so excited that this week we are launching our Dear Future merch. So make sure that you go visit the website at dearfuturewifey.com. We have some hoodies, some crew neck sweatshirts, and some t-shirts. And we also have these amazing journals that you see next to me, these custom journals called Dear Future. And we have these custom fountain pens that you've seen me sign these letters in season 2. So excited about that. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, telling me how they have been inspired to write letters to their future hubbies. And I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and create a journal, and very elegant. Make sure you pick up one. Only have a limited supply because they cost so much to get created. They'll make a great Christmas gift. So make sure you pick up your Dear Future journal or your Dear Future fountain pen and become intentional about manifesting your future. I mean, it's power in writing. The Bible talks about make it plain, write it upon tablets. And that's what you see me do every week. Dear Future Wifey, did you know that you defeated the odds of 1 to 100 million the very second you were conceived? The day your mother and father created you, 100 million sperms were released, and you were the one who fought your way to the fallopian tube, breaking through the barrier of its thick lining to begin the growth of the spectacular queen you are today. You are an overcomer. Experts say that only the strongest and healthiest sperm survive the journey to fertilize a mother's egg. I admire your strength. Baby, be you, uniquely you. Though all humans share 99.9% of the same DNA, it's the 0.1% that makes you uniquely you. You see, the human DNA sequence consists of nearly 3 billion DNA base pairs. The order of these base pairs is nearly identical from person to person, but there are random changes in the sequence called variants. The combination of all of our variants make up the 0.1% difference in our DNA, the part of your DNA that makes you unique from everyone else. Forget about the guys in the past who didn't appreciate your value and uniqueness. They were just the practice squad to get you ready for the championship life you will share with me. Your confidence is the foreplay. You never have to fight for attention because, baby, you are the attention. When you walk in the room, you effortlessly suck the oxygen out of it. I have one request. Just be you. Your future hubby. Thank you for listening to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Remember, be lit. Live intentionally and transparently. And don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.